So you want to create SpongeBob's home, but you're allergic to pineapples. Man, that's unfortunate. Really good fruit. Hey guys, I'm TutsByKai. I'm Kai, and today we're back once again taking a look at how to create this cool, like, motion graphic kind of intro looking thing like that. We always do, but a different style once again today, because you guys love motion graphics. So we're back once again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get started by dragging a box over top of our lamp and our cube, and then hitting delete to delete those things from the scene. Let's go ahead and grab our camera and hit Alt G to clear the location, and hit Alt R to clear the rotation. Hit R, then X on your keyboard, and then on your numpad, hit 9 and 0 to rotate it 90 degrees, and then hit enter to confirm that movement. Now hit G and Y to move the camera backwards like that. Left click to confirm that movement, and hit 0 to go into the camera's view. Nice. So with that done, hit Shift A and we'll search for a text object. Now with this, what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and make each one of these letters that for the word shaky. So that's kind of like a little shaky text motion graphic kind of thing. So let's hit RX and then 90, once again, the way we do for the camera, but for the text. Hit enter. Now I want to go ahead and all the letters are going to be separate. So let's hit tab to go into edit mode, and then delete all of them except for one letter. I'm going to use the word text because it's just, nice and simple. So hit tab to go back out of edit mode. Hit this little button right here, which is the object data tab for the text tool, for the text objects, right? Hit font, and then we can open up this little folder here and choose a font that we want to use. Now, the font that I want to use for today is going to be, let's see. Let's just use a regular font. I don't have too many fonts in the system right now. So let's go ahead and use that one. Just literally the most basic font you can probably think of in your entire life. So let's go ahead, and now once that's done, we can go ahead and go to the offset down at the bottom here and change the Y offset down a little bit so it matches, so it's more in the center of the T. And then we can change the horizontal to center, so now the T is directly in the center of the text there. So now you can see we can rotate it properly. Now, with this done, I want to go ahead and open up the timeline here, change our start frame to 0, and then go to the 0 frame. Hit Shift A, and we'll search for an empty. This empty will be in plain axis, and we can hit S to scale this down a little bit because it's a little small. It's a little big, sorry. And we can left click that to confirm. And then once we have that done, let's right click, hold down shift and left click, sorry, what am I saying? Hold on left shift and right click. And make sure that the last thing you select is the empty. So hold down shift and make sure this is the last one. It's the brightest yellow one, orange rather, whatever. Hit Control P and set parent to object. Now when we select the empty and hit G, you can move the text around by itself. But if you select the text, you can hit G and move it separately. So that's what we need, because we want to animate the T, but we want to be able to move the entire object without having to worry about messing up the keyframes. And you'll see what I mean in a little bit. So let's go ahead and move this empty to a place where we want it to be, which is about right there. Hit Shift D, drag a box over top of both these. Hit Shift D, and then hit GX to move it over. Select the letter, and then hit edit tab to go into edit mode, and then hit delete, and then just change it to the next letter, which is an E. So we'll do that, and we'll do the same thing. Hold down Shift, select both those. Shift D, GX, move it over, and then hit tab to edit the letter. And you can get the idea from this right now. So let's go ahead and change this to a T. Now, with this all done, I want to make these a little bit closer together. So let's go ahead and do that by moving these like this. There we go. Nice. And with that all done, now we can have the ability to animate all of these separately, and we can make sure that they all do not mess up the keyframes of the actual text. So we can move all the text members by going ahead and doing some animations. So let's go ahead and with the T selected, hit I to create a rotation keyframe like that. And we can also create a location one. So hit I location as well. Put your cursor on the top left-hand side of the screen until it turns to a plus. Left click and drag that open about right there. And then we can change this little button right here to the graph editor. Boom. And then we can change the object transform. Open up the rotation and location keyframes. And hit this little side button and add modifiers. Hit add modifier, add a noise modifier. Now you can see we can change the strength. If we play this, you can see that I also want to go ahead and go to this main tab. Sorry, real quick. Go to this tab over here, and then change the frame output to 60. There you go. Now you can see that this T is now shaking in his boots. It's scared. We have now shown it multiple horror movies on one night. Let's go ahead and change the scale to approximately maybe more than 10, maybe 50. Maybe 50, yeah. And we can maybe leave the strength the way that it is. So hit this little copy button right here, hit the little copy button. And then now we can go to all of the different keyframes and hit this little paste button. And now you can see when we do that, that they will all go ahead and transfer the data to a different one. Now this is too much for the Y value, so I'll go ahead and change the strength to maybe 0.2 instead of 1. And then with the same thing with the Z, make sure we change the offset so it's not exactly on the same exact rotation, or else it will just rotate like with it and it'll look really, really weird. Trust me, just believe me. Let's go ahead and change the strength of this one to 0.2 as well, perhaps. Yeah, maybe we'll actually turn the X 1.2 as well. Yeah, there we go. Cool, nice. With that done, I hit copy on this again, so we have these settings. We can go to the location, same thing, paste, and then on the Y, paste, change the offset to a random value. Does not matter. It could be negative, it could be positive. Paste, change the offset. So now we can see the letter does like this. I'm going to change our in frame to 500, by the way, so it doesn't loop too early. We can go to the E now. And with the E, we have to add in new keyframes. So hit I, hover your cursor over top of anywhere in this canvas, in this little place where the text is. Hit I, location, I, rotation. Now we have both those keyframes in play. We can go ahead and add the modifier of noise to the X value, and then hit paste. Actually, hit paste, sorry, not do that. There you go. Now, do the same thing for all these. Now, the reason I didn't just do this and then duplicate all of the animations over is because they would be all the same values, and I want to make sure the offset's different for all of them. So that's why I am doing it manually instead of just doing the noise modifier and then duplicating the letters after that. That's the reason why. So we're just scaling it to literally a random value, and then we're just letting it do whatever it's doing. So same thing with the X here. Let's go ahead and add in keyframes. So I rotation, I location, and then for the T, I location, I rotation. And then we just do the same exact thing. So we'll paste, and then we'll drag it to a random scale. This, we'll leave that one there actually. This random value, like that. This random value. And all of these the same exact way. And like I said, it just gives a lot more variation when you're creating scenes, especially where there's a lot of things going on with movement or rotation, and it's supposed to be random, and you don't want it to look like it's robotic at all, because it can start looking a little strange when you get into rotating and moving things, and it starts to line up a little bit. It looks a little off sometimes. So it is probably a really good idea to just do it manually and make sure the offset is a different value for each one of these letters. So now if we play, as you can see, all of the letters move independently now, which is very, very cool. But the last thing I want to do, well, not the last thing, but one of the last things I want to do with the animation rather, is I want to make all the letters move separately. So let's go ahead and hold down Shift and grab all of these empties. Go to the first frame, which is 0. And we can actually go to the 40th frame, sorry. Hit I, location, and then go to frame 0, and then drag them all down. So hit GZ, move them down, hit I, location. Now if we go ahead and play this, you can see that they all move up, but I don't want them all move up at the same time. So the way to fix this is we go ahead and actually, before we do that, let's go to frame 120, hit I, location, and then on frame 40, we'll actually pull it down a little bit. So hit GZ, just to move it down a little bit so it has like some room to move and slow and ease into it. So I, location. Now you can see when we play this, it goes up, and then it smooths out until it gets to 120. So there you go. Nice. With that done, now we can go ahead and offset all of these letters by selecting the E, dragging a box over top of all the keyframes, hitting G to move these over by 10 frames, as you can see, 10 frames. Then the X, same thing. Drag them all over. This one's going to go to frame 20. This one, the T, of course, you guessed it, frame 90. No, I'm joking. Frame 30. And now you can see when we play this, they will all come up staggered, which looks really, really cool. And now it looks really loose and really like fun and really whatever you want to say. So now the last thing I want to do, the actual last thing, is we're going to make the background a nice, maybe bright color. Because why the heck not? Make it a nice blue. We go to render viewport shading up here. We can get rid of the graph editor now by dragging it away. Clicking and dragging on the corner and then just dragging it to the left. Now with the letters, I'm going to hold down Shift, and then we're going to create go to the Material tab, hit this little drop down, Material, change it from Pencil BSDF to Emission, and now we're going to hit Control L to link materials, and now you can see all of them are the same material, which is the Emission white material, but I want to do one more thing. Go to the Render Properties tab here, or the Render What's it called? Yeah, render properties. And go to color management, and then go all the way on down to filmic and change it to standard. Now the colors, the actual colors are supposed to be, instead of like the muted tone colors like those, which just looks terrible for motion graphics. So they'll go ahead and now that's done. Now that that's done, I really can't speak today, guys. I think there might be something wrong with me. My tongue is actually on vacation. Okay, hit the little show overlays button so we can see this in its full glory. Now, if you play this from the beginning, you can see it does like that. It comes up and it has those nice animations, which looks really cool. And then, of course, you can always have them zoom back downwards at the end of the animation by just grabbing the grabbing all of these empties, hitting I location, and on the last frame, having to be way down here, I location. And then if you want them to stagger as well, you can do that as well. But I think I want to move them all at the same time instead, but like that. So that's basically it. I hope you, ladies and gentlemen, enjoyed it. I will see you in the next one. But until then, bye-bye.